Well, I'm here to talk to you guys about why PAS should not be legalized. I want to point out some major disadvantages and major workability flaws in the current systems of legalized PAS around the world. First, I would like to talk about the workability of this Oregon model that they're claiming that they want to use. Basically, there are no means of enforcing the safeguards of the plan. There's no guarantees that anything that plan requires you to do and have checked out before you get treated is actually going to be enforced. So I have a quote from a human rights magazine on assisted suicide and disability that says, "Significant evidence exists that neither the civil nor the criminal court systems will enforce the safeguards in the Oregon law. The law's culpability standard is the lowest possible, mere good faith compliance. There are no investigatory provisions, and the statute does more to secure every form of legal immunity for all participants in assisted suicide than it does to secure individuals' rights. Safeguard problems have already been reported in the press involving depression, active euthanasia, family coercion, and lack of informed consent have passed with little comment." So I also have a quote from Oregon Department of Health Services News, which says that they just flat out say that they have no authority to investigate individual death with dignity cases. So the state law authorizing physician-assisted suicide neither requires nor authorizes investigations by the Department of Health Services, said Barry S. Cast was the assistant director for the health services. So they have no way of knowing if any of what they're doing is actually being enforced. There's no way for anyone to look into it, any government body or anything like that. So I also have another quote from another article about why assisted suicide must not be legalized, from the Disability Rights Education and Defense Fund, which says that the law requires annual statistical reports from the Oregon Public Health Division, but they do not monitor underreporting, noncompliance, or violations of the plan with Oregon. So many of Oregon's reports acknowledge that the state cannot confirm compliance with Oregon law, and OPHD, the Public Health Division, announced in its first year that the state cannot determine if assisted suicide is practiced outside the law's framework. And they say, just flat out again, "We cannot detect or collect data on issues of noncompliance with any accuracy." So our numbers are based on a reporting system for terminally ill patients who legally receive prescriptions for lethal medications, and include patients and physicians, and do not include patients and physicians who may act outside the law. So they can't monitor anybody outside the law. There's really a lot of holes in this plan, and Oregon is having immense trouble trying to monitor all these safeguards of, mental capacity, things like that, everything that they're trying to check. I would also like to bring up the slippery slope. Another major disadvantage to legalizing PAS. It's been legalized in Switzerland and the Netherlands, most popularly. So it seems like in Switzerland that the ultimate goal of physician-assisted suicide is a broader death license, and it's not really anything about compassion. Wesley J. Smith wrote an article in the Discovery Institute talking about the Dignitas. This is the organization Dignitas, who facilitates suicide in Switzerland. And from the founder, there was a quote just saying that he says that we never say no, so they just don't turn down any patients. And Smith also says this is a mere political tactic that. Smith also says the ultimate goal is a much broader death license. People may mean for the initial terminal illness limitation to be. Oh, I'm sorry about that. So also in the Netherlands we find we see the many repercussions of legally assisted suicide. So, in the case against physician-assisted suicide from the Psychiatric Times, they say that guidelines established by the Dutch for practice of assisted suicide and euthanasia were consistently violated and could not be enforced. Also from R. Mosley from the Chicago Tribune, says the most eye-catching aspect of the bill in the Netherlands is that it would give children between the ages of 12 and 16 the right to request euthanasia and with the doctor's consent have their wishes prevail even if their parents object. So here we see that in the Netherlands, like it's gone as far as allowing kids to request it. It's not monitored. Everything is just being there's no protection that any of these compassionate and all these arguments that they're trying to advocate are being actually upheld in the system. Let's see. I would also like to just discuss their argument with right to die. Again, my partner brought up really good examples about the federal government not acknowledging it as a right, and religions also just not acknowledging it as a right. And I believe Caesar said that about the religions that those aren't the most popular. There are only 3, but those are the major religions. We have Christianity. That's most Christianity and Islam. Those are the most popular religions in the United States. So lastly, I have one quote about the right to die. So somewhat against that says someone from the euthanasia, suicide, mercy killing, right to die position. This is the oh wow, oh, that's a mess. Some research says that basically his argument is there are cases where people must be protected from themselves. So to label their problems as rights and to let them ruin their lives is just plain wrong. There is no right to sell heroin. Again, he's saying that the government has a right to protect people from themselves. So there's no right to sell heroin. There's no right for 18-year-olds to drink, things like that. It's just protecting the people from harming themselves. So that applies to this situation where we must not legalize PAS because we need to protect ourselves from the dangers that it could allow with the slippery slope and all that.